When I started practicing minimalism, I was in college. It was a pretty small dorm room. It was a double single, and I had various items. It wasn't really a whole lot because I didn't need a lot in college, but it was still a small space. When I wasn't in college, like during the summertime, most of my stuff that I used then was in storage on campus, and then I would go home to some other stuff that I had in my bedroom at my mom's house. Around the end of my senior year, my husband and I met, we got married, I moved all of my stuff both from my mom's house and college over to his place, and a lot of stuff accumulated. How big is this house? What would you say?
Outside living space is like 13 feet.
Oh my goodness. That's tiny. 13 feet?
Outside. Dimensions. We're only 12'10" inside. Then you add the two.
So,
19 minutes.
thank you. Love you.
Love you.
So my husband and I are currently renting from a really small house. We just measured the house and it is 780 square feet. It's the biggest space that I've ever lived in if we talk about my childhood bedroom growing up, my dorm room, sharing a house with someone, and now being here. It's also the first space where we've truly owned the section of the kitchen, the bathroom, bedroom, all of the rooms. Because in college, I only had our dorm room. We had a shared community space of the bathroom and the kitchen. And when I was a child, we obviously shared the bathroom, kitchen space as well. So that means that we've had to purchase all of that furniture, all of the appliances, to furnish this house. There were a few things like a really old refrigerator that we still have that makes random noises. But we had to purchase other things like the washing machine and the dryer, our bed, our couch, the rat cages, a dresser, and some of these things were gifted to us, but we had to put all of these items into this space. Since I've been following the minimalist movement for so long, and since I've taken on that role of becoming more minimal, or a lot of people call it minimal-ish, I've learned a lot. I wouldn't say I've ever really had a ton of stuff, except for that time when I was growing up in my childhood home and college, but I definitely wouldn't say we own the absolute bare minimum either. But in following the minimalist movement, there is definitely an aesthetic that goes along with that name. So we're talking white linens, open spaces, limited furniture. And because of the situation that we're in, living in a 780 square foot home, and the average home being 1,600 to 2,600 square feet, minimal looks very different for us. We might have the same amount of items or even less items than other people, but because we live in such a small space, it never truly looks or feels minimal. When our home is spotless, it does feel very minimal. But if we have any dishes out, or if we are working on something, if there's a project happening, it does feel very cramped. I find myself getting kind of claustrophobic and overwhelmed and wanting to get rid of stuff when the problem isn't even that we need to get rid of stuff, it's just that we need to clean. Another thing that's really challenging is that we still need storage space. Because we have that 780 square feet, we can't store a lot of stuff that is seasonal or that we use for hobbies. So we're talking outdoor equipment, outdoor stuff, and not even things that are like snowmobiles. I'm talking like lawnmower, camping stuff, winter clothes when it's the summer season, fishing stuff, and a lot of other items that are hobby based. I think one of the biggest challenges with that is you have to weigh the price tag and cost of storage. For the past 2 years, we have been renting a 10 by 10 storage space, which is $60 a month. And that over time definitely accumulates. We've kind of weighed the cost, and for a while that worked very well for us. But now we are starting to invest in something that can be an on-site storage for us that will still be safe and protected. With a small house, still owning things, you do have to weigh the fact that you might need off-site or on-site storage. We've had to get very creative when it comes to having a small home. If you go back to some videos where I am decluttering my childhood bedroom, I have these white stackable racks that I was storing socks in. Those are officially now our containers that hold chips and fruit, and they are screwed to the wall for storage space. We have a coffee table that my husband found that actually lifts up the top, and there's storage underneath where we put a lot of our financial tracking stuff and remotes and coasters. We can't fit, even though they were gifted to us, tables. So we don't have a kitchen or a dining room table. We have them and we're storing them for when we get our first house. So our coffee table serves as our dining room table. It's just where we eat. A lot of people feel very differently about whether or not they should be watching TV or eating in their living space, but because we have such a small home, we don't have a dining room, and we certainly can't fit a table in our kitchen.
We have a portable dishwasher.
That doesn't really have multiple uses.
Yeah, it does.
Like what?
We use the top.
Oh, that's true. Okay, I got that one. One thing that we have is a portable dishwasher where we can wash our dishes without having to use our very shallow sink. That makes it very hard to wash dishes, so we do use a dishwasher. And it has a wooden top on it, so we can use that to prepare food. We can use it as a surface, as an extra counter space. One thing that we've had to do a lot, both financially and with minimalism, is consider what we can purchase later that we don't need right now. So something that's really big for me is buying decorations later. If they aren't meaningful in this moment, I will not keep them. That was a little tricky because when I was in college, I had a lot of decorations. Whenever I was decluttering, those were things that I always kept because they brought me joy. But when we moved into this place, I realized that the decorations were taking up way too much surface area. And also, it was a lot to move. When I move into our first home, I don't want to take all these little items that are really generic and don't have special meaning to me. So those are things that I'll purchase later, and I will purchase them from local artists through what are they called?
Craft shows.
Thank you. How did you know that? I was thinking like flea market, but that's not what I wanted to say.
No, craft shows.
I don't know how you knew I was thinking that. Okay. Those will be items that we'll purchase later through local artists or craft shows, things that are very special and meaningful to us. Another thing that's a little odd, it kind of goes along with the coffee table, is to think about what can be combined. So our coffee table is used both as a coffee table, a dining room table, it's used as storage, and we had an air fryer and other appliances that we've had to think a lot about. Now, one area that I'm not minimal at all is cooking. We have a lot of appliances that we do use, and we're starting to use more. That being said, we had an air fryer where the inside started chipping a little bit and rusting because of how it was made. And it was a big clunky piece that I kind of got frustrated with and wanted to get rid of. So we did. And then we had a toaster oven that also broke and didn't work. So we took that as an opportunity to find a toaster oven that was also an air fryer, so we had 2 in 1. The last thing that's kind of a challenge, but something we realized coming into this home, is we really need to declutter collective items, things that you accumulate over time. So for people, this might be a collection of stuff, or it might be just random stuff you've acquired. So if we're talking about me in college, I acquired so many random things that were just mismatches, miscellaneous. So when you looked at my cooking stuff, it was all mixed match miscellaneous. I had a lot of decorations that I've talked about. I had a lot of random packaged food. I had a mixture of clothes. When I actually moved from my dorm room in with my husband, I had 2 totes of just random stuff that I threw together, that when I went through it eventually, it was all either trash or donate. For my husband, it looked more like tools. He had a lot of random different brands of tools and different types of tools that didn't go together. It's like they were taken from sets, but they didn't have one clear set that matched. So we had multiple items. So what we did is we donated all of those and we got one clear set. So we had a whole set, including things that he had been missing or things that he had duplicates of, and it replaced the whole thing. That's kind of it for this video. I think there are more challenges, and it's very difficult being minimal in a small house. I think it's something that not a lot of people talk about. I love having a small house. I'd probably like double this size. I could see us having a 1,600 square foot house with a lot of land, and the idea of having a 2,600 square foot house isn't something I necessarily want. I don't want big empty spaces. I don't want a lot of spaces too clean, but I do want enough to have like a rat room, a guest bedroom, our bedroom. You know, one bathroom. I don't think we need a ton of space. But even though we've been minimal, it's taken me a long time to realize we might not look or feel minimal because of the size of our house. Let me know in the comments down below if this is something you've considered, or maybe it's something that you're realizing now as you're watching other people in their homes that look so minimized, that they have so much more space. It can be hard when you're in a small space to feel minimal. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up if you enjoy my minimalism content. That will let me know to make more content like this. And be sure to subscribe if you are not already. Until next time, bye.